Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is our latest Wednesday short. For those of you who don't know, these just seem to pad out the videos. They're supposed to be short, but anyway, I'll not do these on all the videos. For those of you who don't know, Wednesday evening videos, they're a bit less formal, as you may have realised, than the weekend ones. They're just short ones, 5 to 10 minutes, and the idea is that they're to present ideas that maybe aren't worth a full episode. Or maybe it's just, something to put out to the community, see what you guys think. And this is definitely one of those episodes. And what I'm going to call this is going to be an irregular series. I'm not going to, do this every week or whatever. And this is going to be, I'm going to call it Better Than Grouchy. So, Better Than Grouchy because so I'll go back. This episode was inspired by Epic History TV's series on Napoleon's marshals. It's ranking all 26 of them from the worst to the best. Now, the second to last part of that came out last week, and I don't want to give away who the top 3 are. I don't think anyone who knows about Napoleon's marshals will be super surprised. The only surprise is going to be who's number 1, who's number 2, but I think, on a different day, either of those could easily be swapped around. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but as I said, I don't think anyone's going to be super surprised by that. One of the lower ranking marshals on that list was Marshal Grouchy, who you may know from Waterloo, or not from Waterloo, because he was the guy who didn't turn up. He fought Varvre, he did pretty well there. He was fighting Prussians, so it wasn't hard. Hey! But no, so it's basically, the idea of this irregular series is that it's going to be French generals who I think deserved a marshal's baton more than Marshal Grouchy did. And the first one I'm going to look at is friend of the channel. He's got a Napoleonic figures video on him already, and it is General Dominique Vandamme. Not Jean-Claude Vandamme as he is in the picture, but Dominique Vandamme. Now, this is a guy who was with Napoleon from the early days, and he was always, if there's a major battle that Napoleon fought, and it had an infantry assault in the middle of the enemy, Vandamme was almost certainly leading that assault. Austerlitz, Wagram, Wavre later on, all these major battles, Vandamme was there. I don't want to talk too much about him because I've done the Napoleonic figures video on him. I'll link it in the description below if I remember to do that. But I think he's a man who, as a divisional general to division, he had a very good handle on his units. His troops were considered to be one of the best storming divisions of the French army. And this is the French army of 1805, 1806, 1809, when it was at its absolute peak. In 1815, the French army was nothing compared to what it was in 1805, in my opinion anyway. So he was a man who had fought throughout the Napoleonic Wars. Obviously, he went into to Russia as well. And he achieved great success. In fact, even Napoleon heaped praise on him. He said, and I've got this in the video on Vandamme, but Napoleon said, if I were to assault the gates of hell, I would have you leading the vanguard, something like that. So Vandamme, his general's credentials are, I think, absolutely without contention. I think he was definitely up there. One of the reasons I suspect he wasn't made a marshal were two reasons. One was he didn't necessarily have the family connections that a lot of marshals did. I know we like to think that it was all done on military skill and awesomeness, but, there was a lot of sycophancy and a lot of dynastic politics going on for Napoleon as well. The second thing was his absolutely rapacious plundering. This was a guy who would just strip places bare. He loved a bit of loot, but I don't think that's really fair because there's plenty of marshals who enjoyed a bit of the old lootage as well. You've got people like Marshal André Masséna, people like Marshal Soult. They enjoyed a little bit of plundering themselves as well. I mean, also he didn't necessarily get on with the other generals, but then people like Lannes, who's shall we say he is regarded as one of Napoleon's best marshals by many people. I'm going to leave it at that. He didn't get on with other marshals as well, particularly Ney. So, again, that doesn't necessarily preclude someone from getting the baton. But I would say, I think the biggest overlooking of the Marshals programme, to coin a phrase, was that Vandamme was never given his baton. The second one in the Better Than Grouchy series is another old friend of the channel, and it's General Lasalle. Now, you know I absolutely love Lasalle. He's the painting of him is the symbol for the channel. I think he's amazing. He's everything that I want in the Napoleonic period. But he was never made a marshal. Now, again, he was a brigade commander rather than a divisional commander. And the Infernal Brigades, which was a Hussar regiment and 2 Chasseurs Cheval regiments, I'm not entirely sure how much training as a marshal they would have given him. Let's put it that way. I think administratively, when you are doing marauding and riding around doing your own thing, you can get away with not doing so much paperwork. I think when it's time to do paperwork, I think Lasalle probably wasn't the best person in the world. I've got a lot of sympathy for him for that. So I can understand why he was overlooked more than, say, someone like Vandamme. Also, of course, he died in 1809 as well. So who knows, after Russia, maybe for the Waterloo campaign, he might have got a baton. I don't think he's as much of a slam dunk case as Vandamme is, though. I think you know, he could have easily made a marshal as well. Again, if we're looking at people who maybe didn't have the administrative skills, who were much more about the dash and the lan, that leading from the front thing, well, there were marshals who were like that. Marshal Murat would be the one who instantly springs to mind as someone who, again, you know, perhaps his qualifications for the procedural work of a corps commander, let's put it that way, certainly as a king, were not great. And he was a marshal. So I don't think that's, again, I don't think we can say, well, that bars him from the office of marshal, because there was someone who was a marshal who was similar to Lasalle in his outlook. Maybe it was just a question of Murat was, you know, Napoleon could only handle one roguish Murat-like figure, and it just happened to be that Murat was the guy who brought the cannons, that gave the whiff of grape shot and defended the Parliament. Yeah, had that have been Lasalle, maybe we'd be talking about how General Murat didn't get the baton and he should have done. But there you go, that's the first 2 in our irregular series of Better Than Grouchy, generals who should have got the baton over. I mean, just awful. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I've noticed that 60% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so I'm going to try and get that down to 50% if possible. With these Wednesday videos, they come out at different times. I know last week's came out a bit late because I was late home from work. So, you know, if you want to get the notifications, please subscribe. It really does help the channel get noticed as well. Maybe one day we'll be as big as Epic History TV. I very much doubt it, though. It certainly won't have the production quality of Epic History TV. I can tell you that for nothing. But thank you very, very much for sticking with the channel, and I hope to see you next time.